Yep. All right, well, let's look at some overvalued players on the other side of things. Denny, who jumps out to you here?
I mean, look, C.J. Stroud, fantastic year. Obviously, it's hard to speak negatively of C.J. Stroud, but I'm going to go ahead and do it, and I'm going to say that at QB3 he is vastly overvalued because Stroud really doesn't give you much on the rushing side, right? So if you're taking C.J. Stroud at QB3, you're really expecting a 40-plus touchdown season. And is that out of the question? I don't think it's out of the question. Is it likely? No, it's definitely not likely. Okay, so Stroud, I think, is being overdrafted by at least around maybe 2. Saquon Barkley, is he going to get touchdowns? Is he going to be the new Miles Sanders plus a little juice? You know, are they going to keep doing the tush push, the most efficient, effective play in modern football? And if they do, that is to Barkley's detriment. Kyron Williams, the injury issue, obviously, the Rams taking the running back out of Notre Dame or out of Michigan, what's his name?
Blake Corum.
Blake Corum, sorry. Yeah, Josh Jacobs getting on in age. They go ahead and draft another running back in the draft. Stefon Diggs, look, Diggs at wide receiver 12, I think is kind of wishful thinking. I'm not taking him there, not even close to there. Chris Olave, may be up for discussion here, but I do think that is projecting the Saints to be pretty pass heavy. And I don't think the Saints want to be pass heavy.
Okay, Matthew, anyone jump out to you on that list? I know from memory you had Stefon Diggs more in the 18 type of range, and he's coming in at 12 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the other things that you have to think about, again, is it's where we talk about stacking, right? We talk about wanting to maximize upside. One of the issues with Diggs and Stroud is that I think it's going to be very tough to stack Texans. I think because there's so much hype around Stroud, Nico Collins is going to be obviously a very popular player that goes high, as will Stefon Diggs. His ADP is wide receiver 12, right? Tank Dell, we don't know what his injury status is. Will he be ready to start the season? But Tank Dell is somebody that, obviously we talked about him a lot last year in the preseason. Now everyone's on board with Tank Dell and realize Tank Dell is a thing. So to me, that's part of the thing that you have to bake into it. It's not just, I agree with Denny, right? Like CJ Stroud doesn't get nearly enough rushing upside to be QB3, but more importantly, it's going to be so hard to stack around him because of just how high we expect all the other Texans to go. He's a concern to me. And then one other guy that I'll go up the board that wasn't on that list there, but David Montgomery, and you guys know I love David Montgomery, and I love David Montgomery in redraft. But in terms of best ball, listen, he doesn't have a ton of pass catching. We know Gibbs is going to be that role. He's unlikely to get the 100-yard bonus as well. So he's not getting a ton of PPR points in terms of the pass catching. He's unlikely to get the 100-yard bonus. And then you sort of look at the ADP. There's a lot of running backs going after David Montgomery that have more upside there. So Montgomery is somebody who's great for redraft because he's just sort of solid production. We'll get in the end zone. But in terms of those big spike weeks, it's hard to see him having those. You feel like Gibbs is more that player. So I don't love Montgomery going as a top 20 running back in best ball.
Yeah, I'm looking at Saquon Barkley here, and it's odd because in redraft, I actually love him this year. Got him as a top 5 running back at running back 5, matter of fact. But because the Eagles haven't thrown to the running backs in the past, now that could all change because they have not had a Saquon Barkley yet. But they did have a DeAndre Swift who's pretty damn good at catching the ball out the backfield himself. Hurts running them tush pushes into the end zone. I do not think that will affect him as much in redraft as it will in best ball. In redraft, the opportunities that Saquon will have now to score more will kind of negate that. But in best ball, you don't want to deal with that with where you have to pick Saquon Barkley. If you're picking him as a top 5 running back in best ball, like you need 15 plus points every week. And there will be some weeks when he doesn't score double-digit fantasy points because he won't get that touchdown, and it'll be because Jalen Hurts. So
that's right.
A guy like Jaylen Warren might go off that week, and that's when you're gonna, that's when best ball comes into play.
The only 2 running backs that I'm excited to pick right now are CMC and Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall could challenge CMC for pass catching supremacy among running backs this year. So I'm all in on Breece Hall. Beyond that, I'm not excited about any of the top 10 running backs outside of those 2.
Any reason Bijan Robinson isn't in that top 3 or top 2 rather?
Yeah, well, I think that he would be next in line, but he's really going to have to be involved in the pass catching game, and I'm not sure if he dominates that part of the game. If he does, then I'm going to be catastrophically wrong, and I will come onto the show and I will apologize to everybody.
I think guys like Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan are all good to clear 70 catches this season. Jahmyr Gibbs,
Well, that'd be huge, yeah.
damn near did that already, and he was splitting time, and their GM already said he's gonna be more involved. So good point by Barry there to bring up David Montgomery.
Yep, no, very good. Well done by Matthew in making that point.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.